The well-known Fado singer Anita Guerreiro has died. Her death was confirmed by the Casa do Artista, where she resided. On their social media, Bibiana Guerreiro Roca Cardinale adopted the stage name Anita Guerreiro. Originally from Lisbon, she began singing at the age of 7 at the Sport Club do Intendente community group. She jokingly called herself the girl from Intendente, reads the publication from Casa do Artista. She began singing at the age of 7, having started participating in radio shows in the 1950s. In 1955, she debuted on the stage of the Teatro Maria Vittoria in the revue Zo Apata o Laco, subsequently joining the cast of the revue Festa stage that same year. Dozens of other participations in this theatrical genre followed, including the major revues at the Colosso dos Recreios, such as Cidade Maravilhosa 1955 and Fonte Luminosa 1956, forms the Casa do Artista. Anita Guerreiro first became known to the general public for her participation in revue theater. She performed in plays at all the theaters in Park Myers, such as Teatro Maria Vittoria, Teatro Variedades, Teatro Capitolio, and Teatro ABC. While also enjoying success as a Fado singer, Casa do Artista recalls her hits such as Cherubim, Chera Lisboa, Su Tua, Lico de Amor, Calcadina, Portuguesa, Festa a Festa, among other songs. From here, her legacy expands into something far greater than dates, titles, or professional milestones. Anita Guerreiro was not simply a performer who stepped onto a stage. She was a voice that carried the breath of Lisbon, a spirit molded by its alleyways, its cafes, its people, and its immortal saudade. Her life was interwoven with the city that raised her, the city that shaped her, and the city to which she devoted every note of her voice. Lisbon was not merely where she lived. It was the bloodstream of her art, the heartbeat behind every fado she released into the world as a little girl singing in the Sport Club do Intendente. She could never have imagined that her voice, small, bright, full of hope and innocence, would one day define an era of popular Portuguese entertainment. Intendente in those days was a neighborhood bustling with everyday people and bustling sounds, where neighbors knew each other, where children played in the streets until dusk, where families gathered around radios to hear the rising voices of the time. When Anita joked that she was the girl from Intendente, she wasn't just being playful. She was grounding herself in her origins, reminding everyone that she carried the warmth, humility, and authenticity of that neighborhood wherever she went. Her presence on stage was always infused with a sense of belonging, a reminder that she was at once a star and still someone who came from a simple, tight-knit community where dreams were nurtured, even in modest circumstances. Her early participation in radio shows during the 1950s opened the door to the national recognition she would later achieve. The radio was the great connector of Portugal at the time, the medium through which voices traveled from one end of the country to the other. People gathered around radios in cafes, living rooms, and patios, eagerly waiting to hear music, comedy, news, and theater. For Anita, stepping into that auditory world was like being welcomed into the living rooms of tens of thousands of Portuguese families. Her voice carried both innocence and maturity, a rare combination that made listeners stop and take notice. Even those who hadn't seen her face could feel the sincerity and emotion she put into her performances. When she debuted on the stage of Teatro Maria Vittoria in Ijo Wuul, she was stepping into one of the most beloved theatrical spaces in Portugal. Theater, especially revue theater, was a cornerstone of Lisbon culture. It blended comedy, satire, music, dance, and social commentary into a dynamic form of entertainment, cherished by families, workers, intellectuals, and everyday citizens. For Anita to enter this world at such a young age was a testament to her talent and presence. She wasn't just a newcomer. She was a spark of something vibrant and new, a performer whose youthful enthusiasm was matched by a surprising level of professionalism. Audiences adored her because she brought a certain brightness to the stage, something both comforting and refreshing. Her participation in Zo Aparte o Laco marked the beginning of a long and fruitful career in revue theater. The success of that first performance laid the foundation for her involvement in dozens of other productions over the years. Her immediate inclusion in the cast of Festa that same year showed that she was not only talented, but highly sought after. Directors, writers, and fellow performers recognized in her a rare ability to captivate audiences, to draw laughter and tears with equal ease, and to create unforgettable moments on stage. Her transition into the larger revues at Colosso dos Recreios cemented her status as a leading figure in the theatrical world. The Colosso, with its grand architecture and historic significance, was the dream stage for countless performers. Anita stood on those boards with elegance and confidence, contributing to some of the most iconic productions of the era. Cidade Maravilhosa and Fonte Luminosa were more than just shows. They were cultural spectacles, celebrated by critics and adored by audiences. Her involvement in such productions reflected not only her talent, but her versatility. She could sing, act, dance, and embody characters with authenticity, making her a true star of the revue tradition. Performing in the theaters of Parque Maria Vitória, Veridade's Capitolio ABC was like earning a master's degree in Portuguese performing arts. Parque Maia was the beating heart of Lisbon's entertainment scene, a place where artists, musicians, writers, and dreamers converged. It was alive with creativity and energy, buzzing with the voices of performers rehearsing, comedians trying out new lines, dancers practicing steps backstage, and musicians tuning their instruments. Anita thrived in this environment. Her colleagues admired her for her dedication and kindness. She was known for arriving early, rehearsing tirelessly, learning from seasoned performers, and teaching newcomers with the same generosity. Others had shown her success as a Fado singer added another dimension to her career. While she had become widely recognized for her work in revue theater, her voice carried the depth, sorrow, longing, and poetic cadence that Fado demands. Fado is not simply sung yet is felt. It requires a kind of emotional resilience, the ability to channel personal experiences and collective memories into sound. It demands vulnerability. Anita possessed this vulnerability and transformed it into art. Her interpretations of songs like Cherubim, Chera a Lisboa Sutua, Louco de Amor, and Calcadina Portuguesa captured the emotional essence of Lisbon, allowing listeners to feel as though they were walking through its narrow streets, smelling the aromas of roasted chestnuts and sea breeze, or hearing distant voices echoing through its alleys. Cherubim, Chera a Lisboa, in particular, became one of her signature pieces, not simply because of its melody, but because Anita sang it in a way that made people see Lisbon through her eyes. She sang of the city's beauty while acknowledging its imperfections, its joys intertwined with struggles, its charm rooted in everyday life. There was something undeniably magical about hearing her perform it live. People often described feeling as though the song wrapped around them like a warm blanket, comforting, nostalgic, and deeply human.